The day I bought the farm, it was 103 degrees. August in Kansas doesn't forgive. I stood in the middle of what used to be a wheat field, feeling the cracked earth under my boots. Dust devils spun in the distance. The barn leaned so far to the left I was surprised it was still standing. The farmhouse had good bones but needed everything else. Roof, plumbing, windows that actually closed. My husband Tom stood beside me, silent. He'd learned not to argue once I'd made up my mind. But I could feel his doubt. 23 acres for $80,000. Our entire savings. Every penny we'd put away over 15 years of marriage. Gone. Into this. "Sarah," he finally said, "tell me you have a plan." I did. Sort of. Not the kind of plan you could explain to a banker or a skeptical husband. Not the kind backed by agricultural studies or business projections. But a plan, nonetheless. "I'm going to make this land remember," I said. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "Remember what?" "What it used to be, before we broke it." I knelt down, ran my fingers through the dry soil. It crumbled like ash, lifeless. Decades of chemical farming had killed everything. The microbes, the fungi, the entire underground ecosystem that makes soil actually soil. This wasn't earth anymore. It was dirt. Dead dirt. But I'd spent 3 years studying, reading everything I could about regenerative agriculture, about how farms used to work before industrial ag took over, about soil biology, mycorrhizal networks, the wood wide web underground. Most people thought I was crazy. My brother-in-law Jake owned 400 acres of conventional corn and soy, made good money. He heard about my purchase at a family barbecue. "You bought the old Morrison place?" "Sarah, that land's been dead for 20 years. Nothing grows there anymore." I smiled. "Perfect. Then I'll start from scratch." He laughed. Actually threw his head back and laughed. "You're gonna what? Garden? On 23 acres? With what capital? What equipment?" "I'll figure it out. You need $250,000 in equipment just to farm competitively." "I'm not farming competitively." That confused him more than anything. The first 3 months were hell. Pure hell. Tom kept his job at the plant. Had to. We needed the income. That left me alone on the farm 10 hours a day. I started with the barn. Had to. Needed somewhere to store tools, seed, supplies. The structure was sound, surprisingly. The Morrison family had built it in 1948, back when people built things to last. But the roof was shot. I learned to patch roofing from YouTube videos. 47 years old, never held a hammer seriously in my life, and suddenly I'm up on a barn roof in September heat, nailing down shingles, my hands blistered, then calloused, then stopped hurting. While I worked on the barn, I was also working on the soil, not planting, not yet. First, I needed to wake it up. I bought a small tractor, used, $15,000 we didn't have, put on credit, not for plowing, for spreading. I spent weeks collecting organic matter, contacted every coffee shop in a 50-mile radius. They gave me their used grounds, free. Contacted tree services. They delivered wood chips, free. They were paying to dump them anyway. Contacted the county fairgrounds. After events, they had mountains of manure mixed with hay, free. I spread it all. Inches thick, across all 23 acres. The neighbors thought I was insane. "You're spreading garbage on your land?" Mrs. Peterson from the next farm over actually said that. "Not garbage. Food. Food for what? There's nothing alive in that soil." "Not yet. I also planted, but not crops. I planted cover crops, hairy vetch, crimson clover, daikon radish, things that would break up the hardpan soil, things that would fix nitrogen, things that would feed the microbes I was trying to resurrect." Jake drove by one day, stopped his truck. "What the hell are you doing? Building soil. You can't make money off cover crops, Sarah." "Not trying to. Not this year." "Then what are you living on?" I didn't answer. By November, something started happening. The cover crops were thriving. Thick, green, beautiful. And underneath I could feel the change. The soil was softening. When I dug down 6 inches, I could see it. The structure was coming back. Aggregation. Pore spaces. Places for water to infiltrate instead of running off. Places for roots to breathe. I started to hope. Then winter hit. Kansas winter is brutal. The cover crops died back, which was the plan. That biomass would break down, feed the soil through the cold months. But the cold also brought doubt. Tom and I had one serious fight. December, just before Christmas. Bills piling up. My credit card maxed. Nothing to show for it but frozen fields and a patched barn. "We can't do this another year," he said. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the one we'd brought from our old house. "We're broke, Sarah. Actually broke. I'm working 60-hour weeks and we can barely make the mortgage." "I know. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you bought a fantasy. And we're paying for it with our retirement. Our future." He wasn't wrong. By every logical measure, this was insanity. "Get me through next fall," I said. "One growing season. If I can't show something real by harvest time, we'll sell. Cut our losses." He wanted to argue. I could see it. But he also knew me. Knew that once I committed, I saw it through. "One season," he said. "Then we talk." That winter, I kept studying, kept planning, and I made one decision that would change everything. I wasn't going to grow commodity crops. Corn and soy, the money crops, required equipment I couldn't afford, required chemical inputs I couldn't afford, required competing with farmers who had generations of infrastructure. I'd lose. But there was another way, something I'd been reading about, something almost forgotten. I was going to grow food, for real people. And I was going to do it in a way no one around here had done in 50 years. Spring came late that year, April snow. But when it finally warmed up, the land responded. The cover crops had done their job. When I pulled up a shovel of soil, it was dark, rich. It smelled like earth, not chemical warehouse. And it was alive. I could see the difference with my naked eye. Worms, beetles, the tiny universe underground was waking up. I started planting, but not in rows, not in the conventional way. I was using a method called market gardening. Intensive, diverse, 30 different crops on those 23 acres. Tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, kale, carrots, beets, squash, cucumbers, herbs, flowers, things people actually wanted to eat, things restaurants actually wanted to buy. I'd spent the winter making contacts, called every farm-to-table restaurant within 60 miles. "I'm starting a farm. Certified organic practices, heirloom varieties, picked same day. Interested?" Some hung up. Some were polite but non-committal. But 3 said yes. 3 restaurants willing to try. That was enough. May was a blur. Planting, watering, weeding. My back ached constantly. I lost 15 pounds in 5 weeks. But things were growing, and growing fast. The soil was hungry to produce. All that organic matter, all those microbes, they were mobilizing nutrients, feeding my plants in ways synthetic fertilizer never could. By June, I had my first harvest. Not much. 50 pounds of salad greens. 2 restaurants bought them. $40 total. Tom didn't say anything when I showed him the check. $40. After 9 months and $80,000 invested. The math was absurd, but I wasn't done. Every week, the harvest got bigger. Lettuce, then radishes, then peas. I started a farm stand at the end of our driveway. Saturdays only. People stopped, curious. "Where's your farm?" "Here." They'd look around. "See my little plot. This is all you?" "Yep." "Huh." But they bought, because the food tasted different. Tomatoes that actually tasted like tomatoes. Lettuce that wasn't bitter. Carrots that snapped. Word spread slowly, then quickly. By mid-July, I couldn't keep up. The restaurants wanted more than I could supply. The farm stand sold out every Saturday by noon. People were driving from 3 counties over. "This is the best produce I've tasted in 20 years, one lady said. She became a regular, started bringing friends. I hired help. 2 college kids home for summer. Paid them $15 an hour, more than they'd make anywhere else in town. Taught them everything. How to harvest properly, how to handle the plants gently, how to wash and pack for restaurants. They worked hard, didn't mind the early mornings or the heat. Tom started working on the farm Saturdays, just to help with the stand. I'd see him watching me as I dealt with customers. Something in his face was changing. The doubt was fading. One evening, we were sitting on the porch. Sunset. Fields green and productive behind us. "You know what's wild?" he said. "What?" "Jake's corn looks like shit this year. Drought's hitting him hard. But your stuff looks like a jungle." It was true. While the conventional farms around us struggled with the dry July, my intensive beds were thriving because the soil held water. All that organic matter acted like a sponge, and the diversity meant if one crop struggled, 10 others thrived. "You did it," Tom said quietly. "Did what?" "Made it remember." I didn't say anything, just reached over and held his hand. By August, I was making more per acre than Jake made on his 400, not total revenue, per acre. My profit margin was insane because I had almost no input costs. No fertilizer to buy, no pesticides, no herbicides, just seeds, water, and labor. The word got out. Other farmers started stopping by, some curious, some skeptical, some desperate. How? They'd ask, and I'd tell them about the soil biology, about the cover crops, about the organic matter. Some listened, most didn't. That's fine for a garden, they'd say, but it's not real farming. I'd shrug, let my numbers speak. September brought the agricultural board, 3 men in polo shirts and clipboards. They'd heard about my yields, wanted to see for themselves. They walked my fields, took soil samples, asked 100 questions. You're getting what per square foot? About $20 gross revenue per square foot on the intensive beds. Silence. They looked at each other. That's impossible. My records are available. They tested everything. Soil organic matter, microbial diversity, water infiltration. Every test came back exceptional. Soil that was dead 5 years ago now had more biological activity than any conventional farm in the county. How did you do this? The lead inspector asked. He seemed genuinely curious, not skeptical. I stopped killing the soil, started feeding it, let nature do what nature does best. It's that simple? It's that hard. Because simple doesn't mean easy. They published a report. The county ag extension shared it. Suddenly I was getting calls, magazines, podcasts, YouTubers wanting to film. I said no to most. Didn't have time. Was too busy farming. But the story got out anyway. Local woman transforms dead soil into gold mine. The headline embarrassed me, but it wasn't wrong. By harvest end, my little 23 acres had grossed $240,000. Profit, after expenses, was $160,000. Jake's 400 acres of corn, in a drought year, netted about $80,000. He didn't laugh anymore. At Thanksgiving, the family gathered at my sister's house. The farm came up. Of course it did. Sarah, I have to admit, Jake said, I was wrong. I thought you were crazy. I was a little crazy. No, you saw something we didn't. You saw that bigger isn't always better, that old ways aren't always worse. My brother-in-law, the one who smirked at closing dinner, was quiet, didn't meet my eyes. His farm was struggling. Debt, low commodity prices, the usual trap. Winter that second year was different. Tom quit his job. I want to farm with you full-time, he said. Are you sure? We made more this year than I made in 3 years at the plant, and you did it mostly alone. Imagine what we could do together. So we planned. Expansion. Not in acres, in intensity. We built a greenhouse. Small. Just enough to extend our season. Start seedlings earlier. Grow greens through winter. We installed drip irrigation. Efficient. Targeted. No waste. We bought a walk-in cooler, so we could harvest in optimal conditions and store properly. Every improvement paid for itself within months. By February, we were selling winter greens. Spinach. Chard. Kale. Hardy varieties that tolerated cold. Restaurants loved it. Local food in February? Unheard of. We charged premium prices. People paid. Spring came and we hired 4 workers. Not just summer kids. Full-time employees, benefits, good wages. People who wanted to learn this way of farming. We trained them. Some stayed. Some moved on to start their own small farms. I was fine with that. The movement needed more farmers, not bigger ones. That second growing season, we refined everything. Better succession planting, better variety selection, better harvest efficiency. We added value-added products. Pesto made from our basil, fermented vegetables, things that extended shelf life and increased profit margin. By summer, we were at capacity, couldn't grow more without more land. But I didn't want more land. I wanted this land to be enough, and it was. Other farms started changing. Slowly. Mrs. Peterson, the neighbor who'd called my amendments garbage, asked for advice. Her soil was dying. She was tired of the chemical treadmill. I helped her, shared my methods, my sources. She started small, 2 acres of vegetables. By her 3rd year, those 2 acres made more than her 50 acres of beans. The shift was happening, not everywhere, but in pockets. People were remembering. Year 3, the county gave me an award, Farmer of the Year. I almost didn't go to the ceremony. Felt weird, but Tom convinced me. The room was full. Farmers, county officials, families. They showed pictures of my farm. before and after. The contrast was stunning. I hadn't realized how dramatic the transformation was until I saw it like that. They asked me to speak. I hadn't prepared anything. 5 years ago, everyone thought I was crazy. I started, including me sometimes, but I believed in something. I believed the land wanted to heal, that soil wanted to be alive, that farming didn't have to be about fighting nature. It could be about partnering with it. I talked about the economics, how small farms could be profitable, how you didn't need thousands of acres. You needed healthy acres. I talked about the environment, how regenerative practices sequestered carbon, built topsoil, cleaned water. I talked about community, how local food systems were more resilient than global commodity chains. When I finished, the room was quiet. Then someone started clapping. Mrs. Peterson, then others. Soon, everyone was standing. I felt uncomfortable with the attention, but also proud, not of myself, of what the land had done. Jake approached me after. "I'm transitioning," he said. "What?" 80 acres. I'm taking 80 acres out of corn and beans, doing what you do. I've been studying. Took an online course. I'm ready. That's amazing, Jake. I'm sorry I laughed. Don't be. I needed people to doubt. Made me more determined. He smiled. Genuine. Will you help me? Of course. Over the next months, I spent hours with Jake, with Mrs. Peterson, with 3 other farmers who wanted to try. I shared everything. Seed sources, restaurant contacts, techniques. Some people thought I was stupid. You're creating competition. Maybe. But I believed the rising tide lifted all boats. And besides, we weren't competing. We were collaborating, building a regional food system. Year 4 brought unexpected challenges. A late frost killed half my tomatoes. A hailstorm in June destroyed the strawberries. A bacterial infection spread through the peppers. I lost thousands. But I also learned. Diversity saved me. Because while tomatoes failed, squash thrived. While strawberries died, berries flourished. While peppers struggled, greens exploded. That's the thing about monoculture. One problem destroys everything. But in a diverse system, failures are cushioned. We still made 190,000 that year, down from the previous year, but still healthy, still profitable. And I learned what worked in our specific climate, what varieties, what timing, what spacing. Every year was a refinement. Tom became an expert in irrigation, in season extension, in post-harvest handling. We were a team, partners in every sense. Our marriage, which had been tested those first years, was stronger than ever. Shared purpose does that. My sister started buying from us. She'd been skeptical at first, thought I was in a phase, but seeing the farm succeed, seeing Tom happy, seeing me fulfilled, changed her mind. "I'm proud of you," she said one Saturday at the farm stand. "You did something real, something that matters." That meant more than the award. The visitors kept coming, not just farmers now, students, researchers, journalists. I started hosting farm tours, once a month, free, 2 hours walking the land, explaining the methods, showing the soil, answering questions. Some people got it immediately, others took time, a few never did. That was okay. Change happens person by person, conversation by conversation. One young couple came to a tour. They just bought land, 75 acres, dead soil. Everyone told them they were crazy. "Sound familiar?" I said. They laughed. I gave them my number. "Call me anytime. You'll have questions, frustrations, doubts. I've been there." They became friends. Their farm is thriving now. Year 5, the original goal. The year I'd promised Tom we'd evaluate. We sat down one January evening, spreadsheets between us. "So," he said, "what do you think?" I looked at the numbers. 5-year total revenue, $900,000. Total profit, $600,000. From 23 acres. Jake's 400 acres in the same period had netted $400,000, and his debt had grown. Ours had shrunk to 0. "I think," I said slowly, "we're the richest farm in the county. Per acre. Does it matter? Rich is rich." He laughed. "So we keep going? If you want to." "Sarah, I've never been happier. Hard work, yes, but meaningful. I wake up excited. I go to bed satisfied. That's wealth." I felt the same. This farm, this life, it had given us more than money. It had given us purpose, health, community, connection to land and season and the cycles that govern everything. The doubters were mostly quiet now. A few still insisted this was a fluke, that it wouldn't scale. that it wasn't real farming. I didn't argue, just kept farming. The numbers spoke loud enough. Some of the old-timers, the ones who'd farmed before chemicals, started coming around. "This is how my daddy did it," one man in his 80s told me. "Before the war, before they told us we needed all those inputs, we grew food, diverse, healthy, made a living. What happened? They told us it was backwards, that bigger was better, that science had a better way. So we changed, and we lost something. What did we lose? We lost the relationship with the land. It became an input-output system, not a living thing." I understood. That's what I'd found. The relationship. The land responded to care, to attention, to respect, and in return, it gave abundantly. The letter came in March, from the Department of Agriculture. I opened it with Tom watching. "What is it?" he asked. I read, then read again. They want me to testify at a state hearing on agricultural policy. About what? About whether small-scale regenerative farming is economically viable, whether it should be supported with grants and programs. This was bigger than the farm. This was about policy, about whether the state would invest in this kind of agriculture or keep subsidizing only commodity crops. I said yes. The hearing was in the Capitol, a room full of suits, legislators, industry lobbyists, agricultural officials. I wore what I always wore: jeans, flannel, work boots, felt out of place, but also exactly where I needed to be. They asked questions. How much revenue per acre? Average 12,000 gross, 7,000 net. Murmurs. The conventional average in our state was 800 net. And you use no synthetic inputs? Correct. No synthetic fertilizer, no pesticides, no herbicides. How is that possible? Healthy soil, diversity, intensive management. The lobbyists pushed back, said it wouldn't work on large scale, that we couldn't feed the country this way. I wasn't sure if they were right or wrong about the scale question. But I know this, I said. Right now, we have thousands of small farms going broke. We have rural communities dying. We have soil degrading, water contaminated. We have a food system that's broken. And you're telling me we shouldn't support farmers who are actually making money, building soil, and feeding their communities because it doesn't fit the industrial model. That seems backwards. Some legislators nodded. Others frowned. The vote happened weeks later. They approved a grant program. Small, just $2 million statewide, but something. Farms like mine could apply for infrastructure support, greenhouses, irrigation, equipment. It was a start, not a revolution, but a step. Tom and I celebrated quietly. Pizza on the porch, stars above. You changed something, he said. Maybe, a little. No, really. You proved it could be done, and now others will follow. I hoped he was right. Today, I stand in the same spot I stood 7 years ago. The cracked earth is gone. In its place, living soil. Dark, soft, teeming. The barn stands straight, painted red. The house has new windows, a new roof, solar panels. The fields are a patchwork of green. 30 crops growing, bees humming, birds everywhere. This land remembers, not just what it was, but what it could be. Tom and I employ 8 people now, full-time, year-round, living wages. One of them, Maria, is saving to buy her own land. We're helping her, sharing what we learned. The way forward isn't keeping knowledge, it's spreading it. Jake stopped by yesterday. His 80 acres are thriving. He's expanding, converting more. He told me something. You know what the crazy thing is? I'm making less total revenue than before, but my expenses are way down. No fertilizer, no chemicals. I'm actually making more profit, and I'm healthier. My land is healthier. My family is healthier. That's the thing they didn't understand when they laughed. Wealth isn't just money. It's health, community, purpose, legacy. My 23 acres aren't the richest in the county because they produce the most dollars per acre. Though they do. They're the richest because they give life to the soil, to the plants, to the pollinators, to us, to the community. They stopped laughing years ago. Now they ask questions. They listen. They learn. Some change. Some don't. That's okay. I'm not trying to convert everyone. Just trying to show what's possible. That the old ways, combined with new knowledge, create something powerful. That small can be mighty. That dead soil can resurrect. That laughed-at dreams can become reality. The farm stand opens in an hour. Saturdays are still our busiest day, People line up before we open, not because they have to, because they want to, because the food tastes like food should, because they like supporting something real. Tom's already there, setting up. I can see him from here, arranging the tomatoes. Those beautiful, imperfect, heirloom tomatoes that people drive an hour for. I'm about to join him. But first, I kneel down, touch the soil, still warm from yesterday's sun. I whisper the same thing I whisper every day. Thank you. The land doesn't answer in words, but in growth, in abundance, in life. And that's enough. That's everything.